Hare Krishna devotees, I'll start with the Mangala Charan prayers. Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya Gyananjaya Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtaptu Deshattarine Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubharivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna devotees, we are hearing about the 6 Goswamis. We have already covered Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Bhatt Goswami. Today we will be hearing about Raghunath Dasha Goswami. I'll just play the lecture.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. During this visit, the theme is discussing the lives and the contributions and the personalities of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Familiar a little bit? Yes, a little bit. Okay, good. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had many wonderful associates. And outstanding amongst those many associates were the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And so far we've already discussed 2 of them, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. In the list at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, just at the end of the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, there's a list of our disciplic succession, going back to Lord Brahma, the original preceptor of our Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya. And when it comes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the next in line following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are Rupa and Sanatan. And contemporary, but a little bit younger than them, was Raghunath Das Goswami. And you see the dates of when he lived. The painting is depicting Raghunath Das by the side of Jagannath Puri Temple. He was, although he was from one of the wealthiest families in India at the time, there's some number of what was their income, and it's a big number, like many millions of dollars per year, several millions of dollars a year of income. And he was the only son or the heir of all that wealth and landholders and so forth. But from childhood he had no inclination to worldly attractions. When he came to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we'll hear the story, he went through a series of decreasing. Well, you'll hear some more as we go along. But the painting is, he ended up taking the rice that was distributed at the food stalls, the prasadam stalls, but it spoiled, and they took the spoiled rice and threw it over for the cows to eat. It's still there by the side of the temple. You can see the water running down the side of the temple wall. And he took that rice, washed it with water so the rotten part would be gone, and the uncooked inner part was all that was left. And that was his food. Even the rice that even the cows wouldn't eat. Pretty intense, huh? So that's Raghunath Das Goswami, or a feature of his life. That's the painting that's commonly used to indicate Raghunath Das Goswami. And he lived for 92 years. He remained with his family at home for 31 years. He was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri for 16 years. And then he went to Vrindavan, mainly residing at Radhakund for 45 years. So he lived a long life. And we'll hear something about his wonderful life. As we know, as Lord Chaitanya himself is Krishna in the role of a devotee of Krishna, and Lord Nityananda is Balaram in the mood of a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, as Balaram was a servant of Krishna. So also each and every one of the members of Lord Chaitanya's associates have their spiritual counterpart in Krishna Lila. And these are the names found in Gauragonadesh Dipika, Rasa Manjari, sometimes identified as Rati Manjari, and Bhanumati, all associates of Srimati Radharani, or in other words, his rasa was that of a in conjugal relation with Krishna in his spiritual identity. He's best remembered for his renunciation. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Raghunath Das Goswami was totally uninterested in material enjoyment, even from his childhood. It was mentioned. He's our acharya, or the teacher, about the ultimate goal of life. That the Vedas are identified as having three parts. The whole of the Vedas. That which describes the relationship of everything with the source of emanation, sambandha, relationship. When one acts in that relationship, that's abhideya, and prayojan is what happens when you act in that relationship, or the ultimate goal. So he's the acharya for teaching us how one lives one's life in such a way that one achieves the goal of life. What does it look like? Just to give some idea of his spiritual strength, there's a nice description. One time, Rupa Goswami had given him a copy of this Lalita Madhava to read. And Lalita Madhava describes, from the very beginning, it describes the mood of separation that the gopis felt when Krishna left Vrindavan to go to Mathura. And from reading Lalita Madhava, Raghunath Das's life withered because he was moved like one of the gopi assistants of Radharani. And so the associates of Raghunath let Rupa Goswami know what had happened after he gave him the Lalita Madhava to read. So Rupa Goswami wrote another book. The other book was Dana Keli Chintamani. Dana Keli Chintamani is a book that's describing the tax pastime where Krishna and Radha would have funny exchanges together. So Rupa Goswami wrote that one. It's much smaller, and said, here, you read this one instead. I want to do some changes on this Lita Madhava, so give me the book back. And he became happy again, instead of, emaciated due to the transcendental feelings of the gopis' separation from Krishna. In fact, he even wrote his own version of such a book, tax pastime book. Yeah. Here's a picture of a pot of sweet rice. And he had a certain mood when he was, he was known for his intense renunciation in all respects, including eating. It is said that he would eat every other day a leaf cup of buttermilk every other day. So much to everyone's surprise, he was at some point in time experiencing stomach problems. So they had a doctor come and check him to see what was wrong. And the doctor said he's eaten too much sweet rice. And everyone said that's ridiculous because he only eats every other day a little leaf cup of buttermilk. So they brought in 2 other doctors, and the doctors confirmed the same thing. And Raghunath Das understood what had happened. What had happened was he was deeply absorbed in a meditation upon a pastime of Radha and Krishna, where they were offering sweet rice to Krishna, and Krishna tasted it and liked it so much, he wanted all the gopis to take some too, and they gave some to Rati Manjari, who was Raghunath Das in a spiritual form, and they were all in a happy way eating too much sweet rice. And so his physical body became ill as if he had eaten sweet rice. You got it? He was acting on the physical plane, but his consciousness was on the spiritual plane. It's something like, if you have a dream, and supposing in the dream it's something that's very scary, and you wake up and you're perspiring, and maybe you scream or something. It's just in the mind, but the body becomes affected. And from it wasn't just his material mind, but his spiritual consciousness was always with Radha and Krishna. And that naturally had its impact on his physical body. There's another pastime to indicate his intensity of absorption in the love of Radha and her gopi friends. This is a photograph of a place on the west side of Govardhan Hill. The area is called Sakhi Stali. Sakhi Stali is the area where Chandravali and her gopis resided. And Raghunath Das was living at Radhakund, and he was offered some buttermilk from some specially large leaves that were brought from Sakhi Stali. He didn't know that till he asked, but this is what a leaf cup looks like. And so as he was drinking the sweet rice, or the buttermilk, he asked, "Where'd you get these big leaves?" And the devotee, his name was Haridas. Haridas said to Raghunath, "I got from the pulasa leaves in the trees by Sakistali," and immediately Raghunath Das threw it away, unfinished. He just tossed it away. Don't ever go there again. Don't even go there. Meaning, his mood was so deeply absorbed in the mood of Radha and her gopi friends that were competitors with Chandravali and her gopi friends that he threw away the little buttermilk and instructed his assistant, don't go there. It's his transcendental mood. It's said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, just a couple other points, his regulative principles were exactly like lines in stone. As you saw, he lived for a very old age, 92. And as he was getting older and older and older, he still maintained his standards. There are several places that describe when he was very old, he would do circumambulation around Radhakund and around Govardhan, and he would pay obeisances before the deities. But when he got so old, he couldn't get back up again. And people would see him just prostrated in front of the deities, and they understood what was going on, so they helped him get up and said, probably not a good idea for you to pay obeisances. And he said, yes, I think you're right. But then they come back the next day and he was doing, because he was just very fixed in his regulations. Not as a regulative bhakta, but because he was on the spontaneous platform. Yet, even within the spontaneous platform, he was so fixed in his regulation. Here's something that Prabhupada said about Raghunath Das Goswami. You see, this is pilgrims doing their dandavats parikram around Radhakund. They take a rock and place the rock up by their head, and then stand and place their feet where the rock is, and then extend their body again, and this way go around Govardhan Hill or go around Radhakund, etc. So this is Prabhupada speaking in Bombay. Raghunath Das Goswami showed how to live in Radhakund. He was circumambulating Radhakund, falling down, making a mark. That is Radhakund Vasi. Not only counted holy names, but offering obeisances so many 100 times. So much vairagya he showed. He can take bath in Radhakund. First of all, do this. Light Raghunath Das Goswami. So now we're going to describe a little about his life. This is just some of his outstanding characteristics. He was, as mentioned, he was born in a fabulously wealthy family. And his teacher, or his spiritual master, was Balaramacharya. Balaramacharya was Yadunandana Acharya's disciple, and they lived in a nearby town, Chandapur. And they were priests of the whole family. The Majumdar family was the family name. And so the image that you see here, you'll see the image again. It means it's Yadunandana Acharya. Yadunandana Acharya was a disciple of Advaita Acharya. And Yadunandana Acharya had received the blessings of Vasudev Datta. These two, Advaita Acharya and Vasudev Datta, are really exalted personalities. And Yadunandana Acharya was the disciple of Advaita Acharya. Balaramacharya was his disciple. And the two were close by physically, where they lived, and they were the priest of the Majumdar family. So when Haridas Thakur was traveling about, he was invited by Balaramacharya to stay at his place. Now, Haridas Thakur was a Muslim, but he was absorbed in the chanting of the holy name. And look there by his right elbow, there's a painting of the six Goswamis. So when he stayed at the home of Balaramacharya, Haridas Thakur met Raghunath Das. It's said that this exchange between Haridas Thakur, who stayed there for some time, was the reason for Raghunath Das being able to achieve the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which happened later. So later is the...
We can pause here. It's 6:50 already. So any of the devotees would like to share whatever they like from today's lecture. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Let Mataji that sweet rice that one Mataji. So doctor came. So two doctors also mentioned about he had stomach upset because of he had that sweetened rice. So those always they have physical body, but that mood always in the absorption of absorbed of Radha and Krishna. So the intense mode was their itself, Mataji, that I like. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, that was very, very nice. In fact, I also liked it very much. But it's happening on a spiritual level, but actually it's affecting his physical body. And that is what all the doctors confirm. It's a very nice sharing. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Madhavishundari Mataji, are you there in the call? Would you like to share anything today? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Nothing much, just I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, Mataji, no problem. Hare Krishna. Yugal Kishore Prabhu, anything from your end for today?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Raghunath Das Goswami, being a son of a very rich father, he is very rich in his family. And the kind of renunciation that he has exhibited is very amazing, and his love for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And how many attempts that he did to go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that shows that it is a very spontaneous attraction for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's not that he was like very elderly from the childhood. The very first meeting that he had, Shanti, where Advaita Acharya's house, he had that developed love for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then throughout the life, he has, and of course, he got the 19 years of association in Jagannath Puri, and then he gave that association, whatever he had, that to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and in turn Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has written Chaitanya Charitamrita. So material opulence cannot be the obstacle for bhakti, and the vice versa also is that poverty can also not become obstacles for the practicing bhakti. So that both the things are shown, one of the things that's shown by Raghunath Das Goswami, that material opulence cannot be an obstacle in the practicing Krishna consciousness. Many things from Raghunath Das Goswami's life, which are very, very inspiring and motivating, and especially renunciation is one of the aspects that one can learn from Raghunath Das Goswami. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very true. And Maharaj mentioned that he was from one of the wealthiest families of India at that point in time. In spite of that, from childhood, he never had any attraction towards any material opulences. Thank you, Prabhu, for your sharing. Vijay Lakshmi Mataji, Hare Krishna, you have raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. This is Shama Vallabi.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat
Yeah,
Mataji.
yeah. Mataji, just wanted to ask you one doubt. Like Chandravali is also one of the wings of Lord Krishna. Like Radharani is on the, I don't know which side, but Radharani is in one side and Chandravali is in one side. Both were serving Lord Krishna only. But why these acharyas will exhibit this kind of thing that we should not go there, we should not take association of them, something like that, rivalry. Why like that? I understand it is wheat exchange or something like that, but wanted to understand more, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, for your question. Anyone in the group would like to volunteer for Shambhallavi Mataji's question? Umadika Mataji, would you like to attempt her question, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
I think that it is the great absorption. They are taking the part of Srimati Radharani, whatever is Rati Manjari. As Rati Manjari, Raghunath Das Goswami has got intense feelings for Srimati Radharani. And when she is pained, when Krishna is away and meeting Chandravali and neglecting her, she feels very intense distress. And so the Manjaris also, they are very much very intense in their affection for Srimati Radharani. So that rivalry is not personal, but it is for Srimati Radharani's sake. They don't want to. They also feel the rivalry. That whatever it is like in spiritual world, whatever when Srimati Radharani and Krishna are having loving exchanges, the Manjaris also feels intense pleasure just by knowing it and by helping them to have their exchange. They themselves, they do not aspire to be in the position of Srimati Radharani. That jealousy or envy is not there, but they feel intensely for her. So it is a transcendental type of feelings which we may not understand. In it for us, it may look something why so intense, but then he feels because as Rati Manjari, he feels the intense rivalry with Chandravali because Srimati Radharani exhibits that. That is what I feel.
Thank you, Mataji. Shambhallavi Mataji, does it answer your question?
Yes, Mataji. I was feeling like Krishna who can be like all the cows and cow herds when Brahma Vimochana Leela happened. He can expand like all of them in the Vrindavan. And when it was like with what is that number with oh when he married many princesses. I forgot the number. Yeah, he can be in each and every palace at the
16,100.
same time. Prabhu?
16,100, Mataji.
Yeah, 16,108 palaces he was been there simultaneously. But here in Chandravali and Radharani's pastimes, he was not there when Radharani was there Krishna was with Chandravali and he was not there with Radharani and making them feel that kind of separation that is so uh, what to say it's yeah that is the quality of Krishna which we cannot even imagine like that I felt Mataji.
Correct, Mataji. Very true. Thank you, Mataji, for your sharing. Vivek Prabhu, anything from your end for today's session?
Hare Krishna Ji, Dandavat Pranam to all devotees. Just one or two things, Mataji. The degree of surrender to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is one. The spontaneous attraction also, and as Yugal Kushal Prabhu Kumari Kamaji nicely mentioned, that how the character of Raghunath Das Goswami, although born in such an aristocratic family, he didn't care one bit for all of that, and he only wanted to focus on devotion to the Lord. And we see how the degree of austerity which they perform. So all these are unimaginable. Once in 2 days, that was some little bit of buttermilk. That was one. And the other devotees also nicely mentioned the sweet rice pastime showed that he was always on the transcendental platform, not on the material platform. So that point also I like, Mataji. And finally, the paying of obeisances. So although at that old age, whether the physical body would not allow permit him, but still he would go about doing it, and the other devotees would try to help him out, but still he'll come back the next day and offer the obeisances. So that part also are deeply inspiring, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for nicely summarizing. Shulochana Mataji, would you like to comment on today's session? Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, I am inattentive, Mataji. I am doing cooking. Sorry.
Okay, no problem, Mataji. Kumarika Mataji, can we hear from you? Anything you particularly like from today's session? Hare Krishna Mataji. Any other volunteers? Rajeshwari Pran Mataji, are you there in the call? Would you like to say something? We haven't heard from you for a very long time, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Madhuri. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat.
It was very nice to hear each and every devotee, how nicely they are hearing. Just one thing, the absorption of Raghunath Das Goswami. Uh, the book Lalita Madhav he got, and how he became, like how we can understand the bhava of Raghunath Das Goswami. How he was so deeply involved into the pastimes while reading the books written by Rupa Goswami. So that was very nice. And the last part where Maharaj was speaking about how he has received this, uh, that no, the mercy of the devotees in his life through Haridas Thakur and Balramacharya and his guru. So it again and again proves that bhakti only comes from other person, other devotee who has bhakti towards the Lord. So that was also very nice. And the other last one is I was just reminded of his intense absorption in serving Radha and Krishna, especially Gandharvika Giridhari. In Manas Siksha, he writes multiple times that no. Giving instructions to the mind, oh mind, like no, don't do this, do this. uh, he tells like no, as a friend, he begs to the mind like no, uh, have unmotivated attention towards guru and the sadhana what we are performing, and the dham, all that he says. So I just reminded of all that, his bhakti towards the lordships, and how he practiced and how he has shown to all of us to get the Krishna Bhakti in the sadhana practice. It's a very high standards, but uh, we will be happy to know, and we will be attached to these kind of acharyas when we hear about their life stories. That's all, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing so nicely. Guru Prabhu, would you like to say, comment on anything from today's lecture? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah, very like Maharaj mentioned, like very great qualities of it from the childhood. Like even though he came from wealthiest family, how he used to live, and also uh, the sweet rice pastime. Like so, he was not into the physical platform, and even though it looks like, but he was into the transcendental. So where physically, like he used to eat once in 2 days just another buttermilk, but still he used to fall sick. And that was really nice. And so that was a level of absorption in Radha Krishna pastimes. So that was very inspiring. And also one more is like anyway. I mean, even though he was in spontaneous platform, like for the regulative activities, like especially like while doing the Dandavata Pranam, like uh, uh, devotees used to tell like, okay, you should not do it again. So he agrees for that, and even next day he used to come and do it again. So that's why Maharaj was mentioning like uh, he was very regulative and very strict and regulative in following those activities. And these are the couple of qualities, Mataji, which I like.
Thank you, Prabhu, for nicely sharing. That part was really nice when all asked him not to do it, pay the census because his health is not permitting. But the next day he will still come and do it, as you rightly said, because he was so strict to the regulative principle. Thank you, Prabhu, so much. Hare Krishna Pranavalla Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Dhanavad Pranam, Prabhu.
Actually, I liked this very inspiring, following the regulative principles and the lines on the stone. Even though he is at transcendental level, but still he is following regulative principles without fail. That shows us, I mean, that is an example for us. Even though we are at sadhaka level, we sometimes miss, sometimes neglect or ignore these regulative principles. Raghunath Das Goswami showing as an example, we should not deviate from the principles. I know these principles are followed for the pleasure of Krishna and our Guru Maharaj and all the pleasure of devotees, but he is showing as an example, even that he is at a different level. So, and also Guru Prabhu covered, even that it is 3 page, he is strictly following Dandvat Pranam to all the Vaishnavas and the deities. So we also have to cultivate in our Vaishnava community, paying obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. That's what I was inspired by. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu, it's a very nice, important point that you raised for all of us, which we should try to follow. Yes, Harisham Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you.
Yeah, this is in relation to like Shamale Mataji's question, and like just adding something on something to Kumarika Mataji's response as well. Few days back, last week, we heard like Shamkundi Prabhu describing the nature of Raganuga Bhakti, or what is Raganuga Bhakti, right? Like, and he was saying, like, he was giving example of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, how he had an intense separation from Srila Prabhupada. They actually wanted to go back to him, and wherever he is, in whichever services he want to do there. Okay, so this is what like we see in our parampara. So the attraction to Krishna, this is the nature of Naganuga Bhakti. The attraction to Krishna is just not one-on-one basis. Attraction to Krishna happens through service or through the attachment through another exalted personality in the parampara. So in the case of Bhakti Charu Maharaj, it is Srila Prabhupada, and eventually Srila Prabhupada has intense affection towards his spiritual master, like that, right? Similarly, we see here Raghunath Das Goswami's attraction to Krishna is through serving Srimati Radharani. So this is the nature of Raga Bhakti, that it is not like, okay, it's me and Krishna. It is always in relationship with Krishna and his devotees. Okay, in this case, the topmost of all the devotees we understand is to be Srimati Radharani. So all the acharyas in the parampara actually embody that mode, and they want to serve Krishna through the medium of serving his devotees. So this is what Raghunath Das Goswami is also emphasizing. His intense affection for Srimati Radharani, and anybody who is actually uh, considered to be her adversary, they consider to be their adversary as well. It's not out of like envy or jealousy or anything like that. It's just their intense love for Srimati Radharani, and they want, it's more than Krishna for them. Srimati Radharani matters. So that's what Raghunath Das Goswami is displaying here, and we can see in our Acharya songs as well. Like we see Ranottam Das Thakur says, okay, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti. When we like get the intense desire to follow in the footsteps of Rupa and Raghunatha, and intense desire to read their scriptures, then only I will be able to understand Jogala Piriti, right? Like understand the loving affairs, conjugal loving affairs of Radha and Krishna could be only be understood through the medium of Rupa and Raghunath Goswami and all the Goswamis. This is what they are embodying it. This is the spirit of Raganuga Bhakti, they are embodying it. And they are also like encouraging us to develop the same mode by meditating on such fastings. That's it, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nicely explained. Hare Krishna. Shyam Kund Prabhu, over to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Few thoughts. In the way Maharaj had started this topic, if somebody were to simply go with, like, say, description of the life and qualities of a person, in general they would go with let's see the history of this person. This is Raghunath Das Goswami, and after seeing the history one by one, we can go through these different activities, and then what are the lessons learned. That will go in what is called as a linear narration manner. So in this linear narration manner, we would first of all hear Raghunath Das Goswami's young life, then how he met Haridas Thakur, how he met his Guru Balaramacharya, who's for Yadunandanacharya's disciple, and then finally the details about how he wanted to leave his home and meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then meet him in Puri, then coming to Vrindavan. And in each of these events, there will be something for us to learn. That is the linear way. But Maharaj didn't choose that linear way. He chose the non-linear way, where right in the beginning itself, the first 20 minutes of the lecture was about what is his spiritual identity, what is his uniqueness, and there is something that he likes about Raghunath Das Goswami. He put it right in the beginning itself. It's a different kind of narration, sequencing in the narration. And for us, sometimes we get used to katha being told in a particular way. And in the maybe many of us here are used to it now, but not many will be used to hearing katha in this manner. And likewise, we the focus of different speakers, etc., will be different. Like each of them wants to, some people like just the linear narration, some people like to highlight some things, come to linear, again go to something else. So the thing that I like is Maharaj's focus upon certain qualities right up front, so that even if somebody sleeps in the rest of the lecture, he still gets it in the first 15-20 minutes itself. That was one aspect. The second aspect is about the Shama Vallabi Mataji's question, which everybody has answered today. One additional thing to add there. The Palasha cup was from the forest where Chandravali had her pastimes with Chaitanya with Krishna, and Chandravali is a very submissive gopi. Or in other words, she's a submissive consort. If Krishna says do this, she'll do that, and she will never raise her voice against Krishna. Radharani, on the other hand, is contrarian. That is, she will do things which Krishna may not like to do. She and her associates will even speak against Krishna. Chandravali would never dare to do that. And that was the difference in the mood between Srimati Radharani and Chandravali. Although Srimati Radharani is the source of the different moods of the different gopis. So Chandravali epitomized that. Now the question that comes is, Raghunath Das Goswami was with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for many, many years in Puri. While in Puri, Raghunath Das Goswami had seen right in front of his own eyes that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would hear the pastimes of Lord Narsimhadev and Dhruva Maharaj again and again and again. The mood of Dhruva and the mood of Prahlad were not in the mood of the gopis of Vrindavan. And yet, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to hear those pastimes again and again, which means there is, in general, an appreciation of certain things that is happening in the Leela of Dhruva Maharaj and Chaitanya and Narsimhadev and or Prahlad Maharaj. And yet, having seen that he is coming here to Vrindavan and he is so particular, not just about a particular form of a deity that is Krishna, but even about which gopi or whom to follow, Srimati Radharani and others, etc. So somebody may say that, what have you learnt from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Wasn't he an eclectic or something who was broad-minded person as such? The answer is that since Raghunath Das Goswami is the Prayojana Acharya, he was also teaching through this pastime one important principle. One can have finally rekindle or start from afresh, however you want to put it, that's a different topic, the one's relationship with Krishna. And it can be in the Dasya Bhav, it can be in Sakhya Bhav, it can be in Vatsalya Bhav, or it can be in Madhurya Bhav. But neutrality is not an option for relationship. That is, the Shanta Rasa is not an option for relationship. Shanta Rasa is a stepping stone for relationship, but it doesn't mean that one has any relationship whatsoever. One becomes very general in Shanta Rasa. It is in the mood of Shantarasa that sometimes one is happy with Krishna as one's father, sometimes happy with Krishna as one's friend, etc. Or more specifically, in Shantarasa, the defining nature of bhakti, that there is a mamata between the devotee and the Krishna, is not present. The word mamata means this person is mine. For Raghunath Das Goswami, it was this Srimati Radharani is mine, was there. And if you go from a normal spiritual perspective, people say you should never have mamata. You should never think this is mine, that is mine. But on the contrary, in the spiritual world, one should have this mamata towards Krishna and Krishna's expansions, or the various gopis, or the various acharyas. He is mine. For us, at our level, it is our this guru is mine. Let me do whatever it takes for him. Or just like the way a mother sees a child, this child is mine. This child is not going to survive if I don't feed this child. Although the world does take care of it in various other ways, the mother feels solely responsible for the child. In that way, the similar is a relationship between the disciple and the guru, and between the acharya and the expansions of the Supreme Lord or the gopis, etc. So one is to showcase to his disciples that you cannot be here, there, everywhere. You'll have to choose something. There are lessons that you can learn from Narsimha Leela, from Dhruva Leela. There are insights there. But as a Prayojana Acharya, at one point in time, we have to take that, be attracted to somebody. And
have a deep relationship with them. He was showcasing that how naturally and effortlessly it will happen at some point in time. We don't need to jump. We, most of us, are not there at that point in time, but we should have that conception clear. We all have to come at least to the stage of Nishtha to even think about it. Most of us are not there at the stage of Nishtha at all. So, having known that, but we look at these pastimes in the light of the mamata that is required to certain expansions of Krishna and a particular Rath Sthai Bhav, or the Rathi, or a particular kind of attraction to a particular manifestation of Krishna and Krishna's associates. This is imperative, it is necessary at some point in time. That's it, Mata.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very, very nicely explained, particularly that Santarasa that you said, Mamata not being present. It actually very nicely explains question. Thank you, Lord, Prabhu. Whatever you say, it always gives a different type of perspective for looking at things. Hare Krishna, Shubhodaya, Prabhu. You have raised your hand.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. One question based on His Grace Shamkund Prabhu's explanation. So, for suppose if like every living entity has a relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world, like as a Dasyaras or any other. So, for example, if someone has Dasyaras relationship, but then here in conditioned stage, means in sadhaka stage, if someone goes to Nishtha stage and practices, for example, Vatsalya ras, he is on that one. So if he perfects in that rasa, means does his position change in the spiritual world after getting liberated, or is there any such case in the scriptures where someone has
The
changed?
premise, the way you're saying it is, Prabhu, that Subhudirai Prabhu, the way you're saying it
Yes.
is, everything is predetermined. Like for a so-called entity, the rasa is predetermined, and the whole spiritual life is just a process of uncovering it.
Something like that, yeah.
I'm not so sure that is the case. What is certain is we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We have Satchid Ananda Swarupa. There is an aspect of eternality, cognizance, and bliss in each of us. That is there. That is there. But the rasa aspect is not something I am so certain that is predetermined from whatever the scriptures say. It is whom we associate with, what we absorb ourselves in, that manifests itself, and that is seen with in the life of Gopakumar. The mantra that he associated with, the person that whom he liked an attraction for, that made him go to, even though that he went to different lokas, and still it was the yearning for that particular goal of what a particular guru had come and given him, that had defined his attraction. So in other words, for most of us at our sadhaka level, it only means that what we read, what we hear, whom we associate with, whom we take guidance from, from whom we want to serve, all of this matters a lot. To whom we give our heart matters a lot, and from whom we get cultivated matters a lot, and how we cultivate our heart matters a lot in where we are going. And each of us have a cup in our consciousness which can be filled with something, and it will get attracted with somebody somewhere, etc. Naturally, it is up to us where we want to go. For example, we were reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita last Friday in our offline discussion. There was a Brahmana in South India. He was always chanting the name of Lord Rama. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited him, and just by seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that person became a devotee of Krishna. On the other hand, we have Murari Gupta, who said that I like you, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He even wrote a book, Sri Chaitanya Charita Mahakavya, on the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he said, I need you and I need Lord Ramachandra too. I need both of you. It's different. It's whom you go with. It's different. It is so things can change, but at our level, it is only that do not do mindless devotional service. Just thinking, I will just keep chanting and suddenly something will happen. That is nice. Chanting is required. While chanting, we should not think anything else. But to help chanting, we need to even read scriptures, we need to hear Krishna Katha, we need to serve deities. Which deity we serve, which devotee we serve, which book we read, which Katha we hear, all of these also have an important bearing in our life. It is not predetermined, automated in that sense.
Okay, yes, Prabhu. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Like many things to keep in mind. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So we will discontinue here and resume tomorrow. Vanchakalputarubhisha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantagati Vaishnavrindo ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.